The massive observation deck of the United Earth Defense Command hummed with nervous energy as Admiral Sarah Chen stared at the holographic display. The object that had appeared at the edge of Saturn's rings 12 hours ago defied every known law of physics. It was massive, nearly 3 kilometers long, and its hull seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. "Status report," she commanded, her voice steady despite the tension coiling in her stomach. Captain James Rodriguez, her chief tactical officer, stepped forward. "The object remains stationary, Admiral. Energy readings are off the charts, but their weapons systems appear dormant. We're detecting some form of quantum field surrounding their hull, technology far beyond anything we've ever seen." The room fell silent as a new alert flashed across the main screen. The alien vessel had begun broadcasting on all frequencies. The message that followed would change humanity's fate forever. "Primitive species of Sol 3. The transmission began. The alien voice somehow perfectly translated into Earth Standard. "We are the Nexarian Empire. Your system has been chosen for integration into our dominion. Resistance is inadvisable. Your technological development is insufficient for meaningful opposition." Admiral Chen's jaw tightened. Humanity had prepared for first contact for generations, but not like this. Not with threats and dismissal. She opened a channel to all Earth Defense Command vessels in the system. "All ships, maintain position, but do not engage. I repeat, do not engage." She turned to her communications officer. "Send our first contact protocols. Let's try diplomacy before this escalates." Hours passed in tense negotiation attempts. The Nexarians responded with increasing condescension, treating humanity's diplomatic overtures as the quaint gestures of children. Then came the ultimatum. "Your species will submit to Nexarian authority within 1 planetary rotation, or we will demonstrate our technological superiority. Choose wisely." In the war room beneath Geneva, Earth's unified leadership faced the greatest decision in human history. Admiral Chen stood before the Emergency Council, her uniform crisp despite 36 hours without sleep. "They're not here for peaceful contact," she reported. "Our analysis suggests their ship is designed for planetary subjugation. The energy readings match patterns we'd expect from mass destruction weapons." The council chambers erupted in debate. Some argued for immediate surrender, hoping to preserve lives. Others called for an all-out attack while the alien vessel was alone. But it was Dr. Maya Patel, head of Earth's Advanced Research Division, who changed everything. "We have something they don't expect," she said, her voice cutting through the chaos. "Project Phantom." Admiral Chen's eyes widened. Project Phantom was humanity's most closely guarded secret, a revolutionary quantum mechanics breakthrough that had been deemed too dangerous to test. But now, facing extinction or submission, the impossible had become necessary. The next 12 hours saw the greatest mobilization in human history. While the Nexarian vessel waited for humanity's surrender, Earth's defense forces executed a plan that would show these aliens exactly how wrong their assumptions were. At the deadline, Admiral Chen stood once again on the observation deck. The Nexarian ship loomed in the display, its dark hull an unspoken threat. When the communication channel opened, she allowed herself a small smile. "This is Admiral Sarah Chen of the United Earth Defense Command. We have considered your offer of submission." She paused, watching energy readings spike on the alien vessel. "Our answer is no." The Nexarian response was immediate. Their massive ship began charging weapons, exactly as predicted. But they had made a critical mistake. They had judged humanity by their visible technology, never considering that a primitive species might have secrets. "Execute Operation Defiance," Chen ordered. Across the solar system, hidden quantum beacons activated. The technology Dr. Patel and her team had developed didn't just bend space. It rewrote the rules of reality itself. The Nexarian ship's energy weapons discharge, but the destructive beams curved harmlessly into artificial quantum singularities. Impossible. The Nexarian commander's voice had lost its condescending tone, replaced by something close to fear. Your species cannot possess such technology. You made an error in judgment. Admiral Chen replied calmly. You assumed that because we haven't spread across the stars, we haven't advanced. The truth is, we've been advancing in ways you never imagined. The quantum field surrounding Earth pulsed with power. In space, reality itself seemed to ripple. The Nexarian ship's weapons went dark as their energy was absorbed and redirected through dimensions they hadn't known existed. This is your only warning, Chen continued. Leave our system. Tell your empire that Earth is not prey to be hunted. We are not primitive, and we are not defenseless. The next Nexarian ship that enters our space will not receive a warning. For several tense moments, the alien vessel remained motionless. Then, with a burst of energy that their sensors could barely track, it vanished into faster-than-light travel. In the aftermath, as Earth's leadership gathered to plan their next steps, Admiral Chen stood with Dr. Patel, watching the stars. They'll be back, Patel said quietly. And they'll bring more ships. Chen nodded. Yes, they will. But now they know that humanity isn't what they assumed, and while they're gathering their fleet, we'll be preparing surprises they can't imagine. The first contact had gone wrong, but it had taught humanity an invaluable lesson. In the vast darkness of space, respect wasn't given, it was earned. And humanity had just shown they could earn it the hard way if necessary. The real war hadn't started yet, but humanity's opening move had changed the game entirely. The Nexarians had arrived expecting to find prey, but they'd discovered something far more dangerous, a species that had learned to bend reality itself rather than bend their knee to conquerors. Deep within the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, humanity's greatest technological achievement took shape in absolute secrecy. The massive shipyard, carved into the heart of Ceres, buzzed with activity as thousands of engineers and technicians worked tirelessly on Project Umbra. Commander Elena Santos watched through reinforced observation windows as quantum fabricators assembled the sleek hull of humanity's first true stealth warship. The vessel's surface rippled like liquid shadow, absorbing every wavelength of light that touched it. The quantum metamaterial coating is holding stable at all test frequencies, Dr. Maya Patel reported, her eyes scanning streams of data. The Nexarians won't be able to detect this ship even if they were looking right at it. 3 months had passed since Earth's first encounter with the alien empire, and humanity had used every second. The quantum technology that had defended Earth had been just the beginning. Now they were building something that would take the fight to the enemy. Status on the weaponry, Commander Santos asked, turning to Chief Weapons Officer Marcus Wright. Wright grinned, pulling up a holographic display. Better than we hoped. The quantum lance cannons can tear through any known shielding by attacking through multiple dimensions simultaneously, and the reality distortion torpedoes. He paused for effect. Let's just say the Nexarians won't know what hit them. Literally. The ship they were building, designated Shadow Weaver, represented a fundamental shift in human military doctrine. Instead of trying to match the Nexarians' brute force technology, they had developed weapons that broke the rules of conventional warfare. Admiral Chen arrived on the observation deck, her presence immediately drawing attention. The Nexarian fleet has been detected entering the Kuiper Belt, she announced without preamble. 12 capital ships, at least 30 support vessels. They're being cautious this time. Commander Santos nodded grimly. The aliens had learned from their first encounter, but they still didn't understand what they were truly facing. Shadow Weaver will be ready in time. It has to be, Dr. Patel replied. The quantum core is stable, and the reality-bending systems are performing beyond specifications. We've managed to compress centuries of theoretical physics advancement into 3 months of practical application. The next few weeks saw round-the-clock work as humanity prepared for what was coming. While the Nexarian fleet approached with careful precision, Earth's defenders executed a plan that would change the nature of space warfare forever. Shadow Weaver's maiden flight occurred in total darkness. The ship slipped out of Sarah's station like a ghost, its quantum metamaterial hull making it invisible not just to light, but to every form of detection technology known to exist. Commander Santos stood on the bridge, feeling the subtle hum of the quantum core beneath her feet. The ship's internal spaces defied normal geometry. Corridors and rooms folded through extra dimensions to create a vessel larger inside than outside. All systems nominal, reported Lieutenant Sarah Chen, the Admiral's daughter and Shadow Weaver's navigation officer. Quantum stealth field is maintaining perfect coverage. We're ready for Phase 1. The plan was audacious. While Earth's conventional forces prepared visible defenses, drawing the Nexarians' attention, Shadow Weaver would execute a series of strikes designed to shatter their confidence and technological superiority. Admiral Chen's voice came through the quantum-encrypted communication system. Remember, this isn't just about winning battles. We need to change how they think about humanity. Make them understand that underestimating us was their greatest mistake. Commander Santos looked around her bridge crew, each handpicked, each the best in their field. Humanity had always excelled at adaptation, at taking seemingly impossible challenges and turning them into opportunities. Now they would prove it on a galactic scale. Begin Operation Silent Thunder, Santos ordered. Shadow Weaver's engines engage, pushing the ship through dimensions the Nexarians didn't know existed. They would strike from angles that their enemies couldn't comprehend, using weapons that ignored the conventional rules of physics. As they moved into position, Dr. Patil worked at her station, monitoring the revolutionary systems that made their mission possible. "You know what fascinates me?" she said suddenly. "They called us primitive because we hadn't spread across the stars. They never considered that we might have been focusing our advancement inward, pushing the boundaries of what's possible rather than just expanding through space." Commander Santos smiled. They're about to learn that lesson the hard way. Shadow Weaver accelerated silently through the void, carrying humanity's answer to alien aggression. They had taken the quantum technology that had defended Earth and turned it into something more, a weapon that would demonstrate humanity's true potential. The Nexarian fleet continued its advance, their ships bristling with conventional weapons and energy shields. They expected resistance. They expected to face desperate humans fighting with inferior technology. They expected an easy victory. They were wrong. As Shadow Weaver approached its first target, Commander Santos felt a fierce pride in what humanity had accomplished. In 3 months, they had not only matched alien technology, they had surpassed it in ways the Nexarians couldn't imagine. "All hands, battle stations," she ordered. "Let's show them what happens when they underestimate humanity." The ship's quantum core pulsed with power as they prepared for their first strike. The Nexarians had arrived in force, expecting to find the same civilization they had dismissed months ago. Instead, they would encounter something unprecedented, a human warship that moved like a ghost and struck like lightning, using technology that rewrote the rules of reality itself. The silent strategy was about to become a thundering declaration. Humanity would not be conquered. They would not be subjugated. And they were about to prove that sometimes the most dangerous species are the ones you dismiss as primitive. The Nexarian battle fleet moved through the outer solar system with methodical precision. Their formation was perfect, their shields layered in complex patterns, their weapons primed for what they expected to be a simple conquest. On their command ships, alien officers monitored space for any sign of human resistance. They found nothing. Commander Elena Santos watched the enemy fleet through Shadow Weaver's quantum imaging system. The massive alien ships, each bristling with conventional weapons, looked almost primitive compared to what humanity had achieved in mere months. "Target locked," Lieutenant Sarah Chen reported from her station. "Their flagship's quantum signature is mapped. We can strike through any of 7-dimensional vectors." "Their shields?" Santos asked, though she already knew the answer. Dr. Patil smiled from her monitoring station. "Irrelevant. They're still using single-dimensional barrier technology. Our quantum lance will pass through their defenses as if they don't exist." Operation Ghost Strike began with silence. Shadow Weaver moved through spaces between spaces, approaching the Nexarian flagship from angles that existed outside normal geometry. The alien vessel's sensors, searching conventional space for threats, detected nothing. Quantum lance charge, Weapons Officer Wright announced. Reality distortion torpedoes armed and ready. Commander Santos took a deep breath. This first strike would set the tone for everything that followed. Execute primary attack pattern. Let's show them what humanity can do. Shadow Weaver's quantum lance fired. The weapon didn't travel through space. It bent reality itself, creating a corridor of altered physics that connected directly to the Nexarian flagship's vital systems. Energy cascaded through dimensions the aliens had never explored, bypassing their shields completely. The effect was devastating. The Nexarian flagship's quantum core destabilized, its power systems corrupted by forces they couldn't comprehend. Secondary explosions rippled through the massive vessel as reality itself seemed to twist around it. By the void, the Nexarian commander's transmission crackled across all frequencies. What manner of weapon is this? Santos opened a channel. This is Commander Elena Santos of the Earth Defense Force vessel Shadow Weaver. Your assumptions about humanity's capabilities were flawed. This is the consequence. Before the aliens could respond, Shadow Weaver unleashed its reality distortion torpedoes. These weapons didn't explode. They rewrote the local laws of physics. 3 Nexarian support ships found themselves occupying the same space-time coordinates as their own weapons fire. The results were catastrophic. Multiple enemy vessels disabled. Lieutenant Chen reported. Their formation is breaking. They're trying to coordinate a response, but they can't track our position. The Nexarian fleet's precise formation dissolved into chaos. Their sensors, designed to detect ships moving through normal space, were useless against Shadow Weaver's quantum stealth technology. When they fired their weapons, the shots passed harmlessly through regions of altered spacetime. They're launching fighter craft, Wright announced, trying to saturate the area with targets. Santos nodded, just as we expected. Execute Phase 2. Shadow Weaver's quantum core pulsed, generating a field of distorted reality that spread through the battlefield. Nexarian fighters found themselves flying through space, where the laws of physics changed randomly. Their pilots, trained for conventional space combat, couldn't adapt to an environment where thrust, mass, and momentum became variable quantities. Dr. Patel monitored the quantum field effects with intense focus. The dimensional fracture is stable. Their technology literally cannot function in the spaces we're creating. The battle continued, but it had become something unprecedented in the history of space warfare. Shadow Weaver moved like a ghost through the Nexarian fleet, striking from impossible angles, vanishing before retaliation could find its mark. Each attack demonstrated a level of technological advancement that the aliens had believed impossible for a primitive species. Admiral Chen is reporting successful diversionary actions, Lieutenant Chen announced. The Nexarian fleet's attention is divided. They can't mount an effective defense against an enemy they can't find or understand. Commander Santos watched as another alien vessel succumbed to quantum lance fire. The Nexarians had arrived expecting to face inferior technology. Instead, they were fighting an enemy that had transcended conventional physics itself. Their flagship is attempting emergency FTL departure, Wright reported. Should we prevent their escape? Santos considered for a moment. No. Let them run. Let them tell their empire what happened here. Let them understand that humanity isn't just fighting back. We're fighting with technology they never imagined possible. The Nexarian flagship vanished into FTL, leaving its supporting vessels in disarray. Without central coordination, the alien fleet's attempts to combat Shadow Weaver became increasingly desperate and ineffective. Enemy vessels are retreating, Lieutenant Chen confirmed. They're abandoning their invasion formation. They're running. The bridge crew of Shadow Weaver watched as the mighty Nexarian battle fleet, which had arrived with such confidence, fled in disorder. They had come expecting to find primitive humans cowering behind simple defenses. Instead, they had encountered something that changed their understanding of what humanity was capable of. As the last enemy ships disappeared into FTL, Dr. Patel turned to Commander Santos. "They'll analyze every second of this battle. They'll try to understand how we did this." Santos nodded. "Let them try. By the time they think they've figured it out, we'll have advanced even further. They thought they were hunting us, but they never realized. Humans are the most dangerous when someone tries to corner us." The battle was over, but its impact would ripple through the galaxy. Humanity had not just defeated a superior force, they had demonstrated mastery over physics itself. The Nexarian Empire would have to face a terrifying reality. The species they had dismissed as primitive had become something far more dangerous. Shadow Weaver's quantum core hummed quietly as they prepared to return to Earth. They had changed the nature of warfare itself, and this was just the beginning. The next phase would show the Nexarians that humanity was done being underestimated. In the Grand Council chamber of the Nexarian Empire's capital world, panic had replaced arrogance. High Commander Vexthor, his scaled skin pale with rage, watched the holographic replay of their fleet's devastating defeat for the 100th time. "Impossible," he snarled, though the evidence before him denied his words. These humans, they were nothing. Primitive. How did they achieve this level of technological advancement? Before anyone could respond, new alerts flashed across the chamber's displays. Another Nexarian battle group had gone silent, this time near the Centauri colonies. The pattern was becoming terrifyingly clear. Humanity wasn't just defending their territory anymore. They were hunting. Aboard Shadow Weaver, Commander Santos received the confirmation of their latest successful operation. In the 3 months since their first victory, Earth had launched a carefully coordinated campaign of strategic strikes. The quantum technology that had defended their home system had been refined, improved, and weaponized in ways that left the Nexarians reeling. "Status report on the Centauri operation," she commanded. Lieutenant Chen brought up the tactical display. "Complete success. The reality fracture fields we deployed have effectively quarantined the entire Nexarian battle group. They can't communicate, can't navigate, and can't escape. Their ships are trapped in a pocket of space where our laws of physics apply, not theirs." Dr. Patil added from her station, "The psychological impact is proving even more effective than we anticipated. The Nexarians built their empire on technological superiority. Now they're facing an enemy that makes their advanced technology useless." Shadow Weaver wasn't alone anymore. Earth had launched 5 more quantum ships, each incorporating new innovations that pushed the boundaries of what was possible. The Nexarian Empire, which had dismissed humanity as primitive just months ago, now found themselves facing an enemy that seemed to appear and disappear at will, striking from dimensions they couldn't comprehend. "Admiral Chen's latest intelligence report confirms it," Santos said, reviewing the data. "The Nexarians have begun withdrawing from their outer colonies. They're consolidating their forces, trying to create defensive positions against attacks they can't predict or understand." The quantum core hummed as Shadow Weaver moved through folded space, approaching their next target. The ship's capabilities had grown since their first engagement. Now they could manipulate reality on a scale that made conventional space warfare obsolete. "Multiple Nexarian signatures detected," Wright reported from Tactical. "They're trying a new formation. Looks like they're attempting to create some kind of quantum detection grid." Santos smiled grimly. "They're still thinking in conventional terms. Show them why that won't work." Shadow Weaver's new quantum cascade system activated. Reality rippled around the Nexarian formation as multiple dimensional vectors collapsed simultaneously. Their detection grid, designed to find ships moving through normal space, was useless against a vessel that could choose which laws of physics it wanted to obey. "Message from Earth Command," Lieutenant Chen announced. "Operation Paradigm Shift is ready to commence." This was what they had been building toward. While Shadow Weaver and its sister ships had kept the Nexarians off balance, Earth's scientists had been preparing something unprecedented. They weren't just going to defeat the alien empire. They were going to change their understanding of reality itself. The quantum beacon network is online, Dr. Patel confirmed. We can proceed with the dimensional overlay. Santos took a moment to appreciate the magnitude of what they were about to attempt. Humanity had taken the Nexarians' dismissal of their capabilities and turned it into their greatest advantage. While the aliens had looked for conventional weapons and defenses, Earth had learned to rewrite the rules of existence. "Begin the sequence," she ordered. "Let's show them what happens when you underestimate humanity's potential." Across known space, quantum beacons activated simultaneously. The technology that had started as a defensive measure against a single alien ship had evolved into something that could reshape the battlefield itself. Reality began to shift on a massive scale. In the Nexarian capital, High Commander Vexthor watched in horror as his empire's greatest weapons became useless. Ships lost contact with each other as space itself seemed to fragment into competing regions of altered physics. Communication systems failed as quantum signals rewrote the fundamental constants they relied on. "What are they?" he whispered, watching his empire's military might crumble before an enemy he had once dismissed as primitive. "What have these humans become?" The answer came in a transmission that reached every Nexarian command center simultaneously. Admiral Chen's voice, calm and resolute. "You came to our world believing we were primitive because we hadn't spread across the stars. You never considered that we might have been advancing in other ways, pushing the boundaries of what's possible, rather than simply expanding through space. That was your mistake." Shadow Weaver moved through the chaos like a predator, its quantum weapons rendering Nexarian defenses meaningless. The hunters had become the hunted, and humanity was proving to be far more dangerous than any alien empire had imagined. "Your empire is built on the assumption of technological superiority," the transmission continued. "We've shown you that technology means nothing if you can't adapt, can't innovate, can't imagine new possibilities. You wanted to subjugate humanity. Instead, you forced us to transcend our limitations." The Nexarian Empire, which had stood unconquered for millennia, faced a choice: adapt to a new reality where they were no longer the superior force, or continue fighting a war they now knew they couldn't win. They had sought to conquer what they thought was a primitive species, only to discover that humanity's greatest strength was its ability to turn limitations into advantages. As Shadow Weaver prepared for its next strike, Commander Santos watched the tactical display with a sense of profound satisfaction. The universe was about to change, and humanity would help shape its new form, not as conquered subjects, but as architects of reality itself. The Grand Council Chamber of the Nexarian Empire had lost its former splendor. Where once the mighty alien leaders had plotted the conquest of countless worlds, now they gathered in desperate conference. High Commander Vexthor, his proud bearing diminished by recent defeats, faced the harsh reality of his empire's situation. The quantum display showed the extent of humanity's victory. Across vast stretches of space, Nexarian fleets lay powerless, trapped in pockets of altered reality, where their advanced technology had become useless. The empire that had dismissed humans as primitive now faced extinction at the hands of beings who had mastered physics itself. Aboard Shadow Weaver, Commander Elena Santos received the transmission they had been waiting for. The Nexarian Empire was calling for a ceasefire. They're requesting direct negotiations, Lieutenant Sarah Chen reported, her voice steady despite the historic magnitude of the moment. Their quantum signature matches High Command authentication protocols. Dr. Maya Patel looked up from her station, where she had been monitoring the vast network of reality-altering quantum beacons that had brought the mighty empire to its knees. They finally realized they can't win a conventional war against unconventional physics. The journey to the negotiation point was symbolic of everything humanity had achieved. Shadow Weaver moved through dimensions the Nexarians couldn't access, arriving at the designated coordinates in a way that emphasized their mastery of space and time. The ship's quantum stealth system remained active, a reminder that humanity's power wasn't just in their weapons, but in their ability to redefine what was possible. Admiral Chen's hologram, appeared on Shadow Weaver's bridge. "Commander Santos, you've been chosen to represent Earth at these negotiations. The Nexarians need to understand that our victory isn't just about superior technology. It's about superior thinking." The meeting took place in neutral space, aboard a station specifically constructed for the occasion. As Santos walked through the corridors, she noted how the Nexarian representatives flinched at every subtle pulse of quantum energy from her ship's systems. They had learned to fear what they once dismissed. High Commander Vexthor waited in the conference chamber, his once imperious bearing now tempered by defeat. "Commander Santos," he acknowledged, his translator struggling with the complex harmonics of his native language. "Your species has accomplished the impossible." "No," Santos replied calmly. "We accomplished the inevitable. You assumed that because we hadn't spread across the stars, we weren't advancing. You never considered that we might be developing in ways you couldn't imagine." The negotiations that followed would reshape the galaxy. Humanity didn't seek to destroy or subjugate the Nexarian Empire. They had larger goals in mind. The quantum technology that had won the war could do more than just alter reality for military purposes. It could open new frontiers of exploration and discovery. "Your empire was built on the assumption of superiority," Santos explained as they outlined the terms of peace. "Ours is built on the knowledge that there's always more to learn, more to discover, more to become. We're offering you a choice. Join us in pushing the boundaries of what's possible, or remain trapped by your own limitations." The terms were clear. The Nexarian Empire would survive, but it would have to change. Their technology would be adapted to work with, rather than against, the quantum realities humanity had discovered. Their worlds would remain their own, but they would have to accept a new order, one where cooperation and innovation mattered more than conquest and domination. Back on Shadow Weaver's bridge, Dr. Patel shared a profound observation. "You know what's truly remarkable? When they threatened Earth, they forced us to achieve in months what might have taken decades. Their aggression didn't weaken humanity. It made us transcend our own limitations." The quantum network that had trapped Nexarian fleets was being repurposed. Where it had once created pockets of altered physics to disable alien ships, now it was being used to establish new trade routes, new methods of communication, new ways of understanding the universe itself. Admiral Chen's final address to the combined fleets echoed across quantum-enhanced channels. "Today marks more than just the end of a war. It marks humanity's emergence as a species that doesn't just explore space. We reshape it. We don't just observe reality. We redefine it. And we offer this knowledge not as conquerors, but as pioneers." Shadow Weaver's quantum core hummed with potential as they prepared to return home. The ship that had helped humanity survive now symbolized their future. They had proven that true advancement wasn't measured in territory controlled or ships built, but in the ability to imagine and achieve the impossible. Commander Santos stood on her bridge one last time, watching the stars through sensors that could see beyond conventional reality. "Send word to Earth," she ordered. "Tell them it's done. The war is over, and the real journey is about to begin." As Shadow Weaver moved through folded space toward Earth, humanity looked to the future with newfound confidence. They had faced extinction and emerged stronger. They had been dismissed as primitive and proved themselves masters of reality itself. They had shown the galaxy that the most dangerous species aren't always the ones with the biggest ships or the most territory. Sometimes, they're the ones who learn to change the rules of the game itself. The dawn of a new era had arrived, and humanity would help shape it, not through force, but through innovation, not through conquest, but through understanding. They had become more than just another spacefaring species. They had become architects of reality itself, ready to explore possibilities that even their recent achievements had only begun to reveal.